Hi and welcome to Aussie Sim. Well, here we are again on the tarmac. This time we're in the Pmdg 747 Qantas livery, which looks very nice, if I do say so myself. So I'd just like to thank everyone that jumped onto my last video that I covered the exterior and the interior of the of this aircraft. Thanks for tuning in and hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. So hopefully you can get something out of this video. So what I'm going to do in this one is basically jump in the cockpit. It's in a cold and dark state at the moment, so I'm just going to jump in the cockpit and go from cold and dark basically to engine start. So we won't be moving the aircraft or anything like that. We won't be calling any ground services or anything. We'll just be basically powering it up and then getting the engines running. So you can just look at the procedures that basically go through to get it all up and going. So we'll hop into the cockpit, and as you can see, there's nothing running at all here. So first off, we need to get some power to the aircraft. And to achieve that, we need to pop onto the overhead panel. And as you can see, we've got our power sources over here. So we've got our standby power, which is currently off, our battery power, which is also currently off, and our APU startup here. So I'll go through the way to start this or electrically power this aircraft up. So obviously first thing we must do is turn on the battery power. So we'll turn that on. We'll close this little switch, the guard, and we'll turn the standby power into auto. Alright, so we've got two options here. Normally if you're parked at a gate or a stand, you'll have either one of two things. You can have the GPU, which is a ground power unit supplying power, which is also called exterior power, to the aircraft, or you can use the dual plugs or single plugs directly off the air bridge, which they use for turnarounds at turnarounds for flights. An aircraft's only got a 40-minute turnaround or so. But we're going to go straight into the APU start rather than hooking up exterior power. So we're going to switch this to on and then to start, and hold it and switch it to on. Now if I come down onto my screen here, and looking at this screen, actually sorry, we might not get anything showing up here because we don't have the power to that yet. But I was hoping to show the APU starting up. Which would normally come up on this screen down here. So we'll just pop back over the overhead here. So the APU started up. I might just give you a quick view outside. So go back here and we'll pop over to the APU. So they did really well with the paint job on this aircraft. And I believe this one is the Rolls-Royce engine. So you can see the APUs running there. There's a little bit of smoke exhaust coming out, which is very nice. So we'll hop back in to the cockpit, and we need to select those switches for the APU generators. So we'll select APU generator 1 and APU generator 2. So it's just powering through at the moment. Okay, so the next thing we go through is the IRS. So this is the alignment of the aircraft GPS referencing longitude and latitude. So we need to align that to basically tell the GPS where we are. We do that by selecting each one of these into the align mode. So left, center, and right. Then we'll have a display up on our FMC. And we need to set the IRS position. So while that's aligning, we won't get anything come up, so it's actually aligned now. Once that's enter IRS position comes up, means that the IRS is ready to be entered. I can put a reference airport in here. I'm at LA, Los Angeles Airport, so I'll put K, or Kilo, Lima, Alpha, X-ray into the reference airport. So we need to set in a IRS position here, so we'll do that by selecting next page. We're going to go to page 3, and we have 2 positions here, GPS left and right. Select the left and go back 2 pages and enter that into the set IRS. Now these screens will change, but it involves me popping back over the overhead and selecting these into the nav position. Come back down here, and as you can see, the screens have changed. Alright, so back into the overhead here, we're just going to set up the aircraft. So we've got to put on the emergency lights, so we'll select them into the arm position and close the guard there. And we'll pop down to the pedestal down here. We set the no smoking sign to on and seatbelts into auto. So we're just going to check how much fuel we've got on board. And I do that by just selecting the fuel. It says here 1,735.5 kilos. So what I'm going to do there is I'm actually going to change that into pounds. So work out how to do that. To maybe displays kilos and pounds here, so I'm going to switch that over to pounds, only because the fact that in the referencing it says that if we've got over 127,000 pounds of fuel on board, we need to turn the cross valve switches on. So I'll put that into the pounds for now, and we'll have a look. We've got 382.5 pounds. Now I haven't set any fuel or loading up, so I'm just going to go off what that says. And pop back over to the overhead. We're going to select the cross feeds, the fuel cross feeds. They're on here, so they're fine. So then we're going to go over to the packs here, and we're going to select those into the normal position, like so. Just going to make sure that I haven't skipped anything at this stage, which looks fine. And we'll pop back down here. Just going to do a quick oxygen test. So we'll just select and hold that button there, and that's all clear there. And we're going to set our auto brakes into the RTO position, like so. Alright, so there's obviously in between setting this pre-flight electrical startup setup to the actual engine start, so there's a bit of stuff that goes in between that, like setting up the FMC, setting up the autopilot, obviously opening and closing the doors, having boarding and ground services and everything, but we're going to skip all that, and we're just going to go to basically the before start procedure. So we'll head back over to the overhead panel. So at this stage we're just about to push back, so we're going to get everything set up for that. So we're going to select all our pumps into the auto position, except for the last one. That one's going to go into the auxiliary position. Alright, and then we're going to select all our fuel pumps on. Next is our beacon. So you've got three settings here. Obviously the lower, so underneath the aircraft, you've got off and then both. So one at the bottom, one at the top, the red flashing light. So that's on there. Next we'll be setting the trim, but we're not doing that. And we'll go into the engine start. So we're turning all the packs into the off position for the engine start. And we'll go down here to the MC P view, and we're going to just select the engine selector, and we want that on the screen here because we want to see the N3 spooling up, and when that gets to a certain level at about 25%, we'll introduce the fuel for the engine start. Alright, so we'll go for engine start, and by doing that we'll just start both the right engine, so engine 4 and engine 3. So we do that just by pulling on these, and they come up white, meaning that they're starting up. We'll just have a look here, and you can see these are both now rising 15, 16, and when they get to 25 we'll introduce the fuel. It's close enough, we'll introduce the fuel, and you should hear the aircraft engine starting to spool up. Alright, so they've got those two engines started up, so we can go over and do the same for the for the second and the first engine on the left. So we'll get those two started up, both white lights have come on. can see those rising there. So we'll introduce fuel. You can hear the engines on the left side now spooling up. Alright, so they're fully running now, and we'll pop back into the overhead and we'll just make sure all the settings are where we need them. So we're going to turn the APU off, so we'll select the APU into the off position. Selecting the number 4 pump to the auto position. Selecting the packs into the norm position. And then we'd be pretty much set for our taxi out. So that's the basics of starting up the 747-400, and I just wanted to show you that basically as an introductory to powering up this aircraft and running the engines. And next video I'll probably be going through some of the systems on the aircraft. Well, I might be doing that in a video that I'll be basically taking the flight from A to B and going through all the procedures from the pre-flight to the setup of the aircraft for the departure, taxiing out, takeoff to landing. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope if anyone's having any trouble starting this aircraft or knowing what to do exactly, this helps out. Feel free to message me in the comments below and ask me any questions that you have. I'll happily try to answer them. And hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you hit the like button, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.